So we predicted last year about mobile, social trading, which have all come to pass in the last year. We also predicted rapid growth in Asia, which will also came to pass. We also see a big movement when we launched our binary as well, middle of last year. We've seen rapid growth in there. We also spoke a lot about regulation. And regulation is something that's really affected us on a number of different levels. On the one side, where we have our regulated product, LXLite, we've seen a rush of new brokers coming up to use our regulation to enter the European market. But on top of that, we see a higher demand from the tech providers to give a little bit more. For example, we've entered into the realms of B2G, where we're actually advising new countries that want to regulate on how they should regulate, and also provide the systems in the back end to actually help them. And that's something we'll see, I think, during the course of next year as well. So we spoke a little bit about convergence, and we've already spoken a little bit about marketing and the challenges that come from marketing. So when you look at binary and Forex, you know that binary has an advantage when it comes to conversion and a disadvantage when it comes to retention. And it's exactly the other way around with Forex. So what we're seeing in the marketplace is we see a push from binary brokers initially, like wanting to branch out more into Forex, and Forex starting to push back into binary. Each one trying to leverage cheap plug. Each one trying to leverage the advantages of the other. In the meantime, the technologies themselves are starting to converge as well. So we see, like on the binary options, when we released candlestick charts, longer term options, these are all heading towards closer to Forex, but closer to better retention. And with the Forex side, what Nicc Active did was to answer a question about conversion and to answer a question about marketing, which is, how can I apply my model to a larger mass media that's not just 100% on affiliates? How can I guarantee I can get more users through my door and try and convert them? The easiest way is to start to automate and push the system through the front end, back to the back end. So we see like a holy trinity of Nicc Active, social trading, and CRM, all working in tandem to help this process and optimize it. Okay, I'm going to go around this a little bit of a roundabout way, but I'm going to get to a point very quickly. I spoke about convergence, and I'm now going to introduce a new element in the trends, which is brand. Brand was almost dead at some point in the last few years. You know, when we saw the rise of all the comparison websites, and the consumer took over the power. You know, like a baby with a new toy, they threw their toys out the cart. They took absolutely everything they could, cheapest, best, quickest, and over time, that consumer power has turned more into consumer peer support. So they're looking for something more. They're looking for something like a brand. So we see the return of the brand coming back. We also see the convergence of Forex and binary in general anyway. We see that the binary tech is becoming more and more like Forex and candlestick charts and long-term options and more trading tools and charts within the platform. And we see the Forex becoming a much easier funnel into conversion. So can the two converge? Absolutely, and we're already seeing the push from binary into Forex today, and many binary brokers starting to become very successful at pushing Forex to their database, and we're seeing a lot of interest coming back through now from Forex into binary. Again, to leverage each other's strengths within the funnel. Yeah, I think most of the panel have pointed towards automation on the side of the trader, particularly in binary, is becoming very important to have an API so that you can do a form of algo trading within the platform. Also self-conversion through the platform and self-retention, some of the Nicc Active answers. But also on the back end as well, the data-driven decision making through a very smart CRM. I think on top of that, we see adaptation to new markets. Southeast Asia is a growing market. You need to adapt your technology towards that, and the Eastern Bloc countries are now growing as well. On top of that, there are more and more regulating countries, which means means that as a tech provider, we need to provide also the adaptation for each regulation. But more than that, there's lots of countries that are looking for the expertise in how to set their regulation, what they need to do, the process they need to go through to get there. And that's something that large technology providers can do, give a B2G service, and on top of that, be able to provide some of the systems that they will need to be able to control their own regulation. I think that's a key growth area for us coming up in the new year. I think in general, like, you know, we're talking about, like, if you look at gaming, almost like a crystal ball. You know, we saw last year the merger of Paddy Power and Betfair, Leverate and Coral. This is all thanks to regulation. This is where regulation brings the industry to big players in the industry. Players who have a brand, who have the means to go beyond a little bit more than just affiliate traffic. Affiliates are hugely important. I agree with that, Noel. Today, they're 70% of the market. If you really want to be different, if you really want to take your brand to the next level, you need to build your brand, and you need to build a new way of getting your clients through the door. And that's what automation gives you. That's what Series Active gives you.